You know the feeling. You're sitting there, checking your watch for the 10th time, maybe sending that classic text, "Hey, are you close?" We all have that one person in our lives who is, it seems, constitutionally incapable of being on time. It's so frustrating, right? But what if it's not just them being rude? What if there's something much, much deeper going on in their head? Well, let's get into it.
And I mean always. We're not talking about the occasional bad traffic or a random emergency. No, we're talking about a pattern, a consistent, predictable lateness. So what is really going on inside the mind of someone who's chronically late? It's so easy to jump to conclusions, to think it's just carelessness. But psychology tells a very different and way more complex story.
Look, our immediate reaction, our common belief, is that it's personal. We think, okay, this person is being passive-aggressive, or they just think their time is more important than mine, and that stings. But the psychological explanation invites us to look under the hood. It suggests that often the real reasons are way more complicated and tangled up in the subconscious mind.
To really get this, we've got to shift our thinking. Instead of seeing the lateness itself as the problem, psychiatrists see it as a symptom. Like a cough is a symptom of a cold. When lateness is a chronic thing, it's a huge flashing sign that something deeper is at play.
This is exactly what psychiatrist Philippa Perry says. She notes that when her clients are always showing up 5 or 10 minutes late, it gets her thinking. It's not just an annoyance. For her, it's a clue. It's a puzzle piece that, more often than not, leads right back to a person's past. So this brings us to the absolute heart of the matter. So much of this behavior is driven by these really powerful old beliefs that we don't even know we have. These are ideas that got wired into our brains when we were kids, and believe it or not, they're still pulling the strings today.
So what even is a subconscious belief? Well, think of it like this. It's an idea that was installed in your brain a long, long time ago, probably in childhood. It just runs in the background, kind of like an app on your phone, influencing your choices and your habits without you ever consciously thinking about it. Let me show you how this works with a real-life example.
So, Perry tells this story about a patient who was always late for everything. As they dug into his past, he started talking about his mom. She would always take forever to get ready, which made him late for school all the time. But it wasn't just what she did that mattered.
It was what she said. She explicitly told him that being late was fine, and that people who show up early are just tense. Can you imagine? In his little kid brain, a powerful connection was made. Being on time means being tense. And even worse, it felt like he was betraying his own mom's way of life. And that just shows you the incredible power of the subconscious. For this guy, being punctual wasn't about being respectful or organized. It was emotionally loaded. It was tied to feeling disloyal, to going against a core lesson he learned from his mother. And get this, once he finally saw that connection, he was actually able to change his behavior. Okay, here's another wild example. There was a woman whose career was just completely stalled out, and her chronic lateness was a huge part of the problem. As she dug deeper with her therapist, she uncovered a totally different but just as powerful belief that had been drilled into her by her family.
Her family had always taught her that rich people were basically evil. So her subconscious mind was stuck with this impossible choice: either fail at her job or succeed and become one of those evil people she was raised to hate. Her lateness was literally a form of self-sabotage, a way to protect herself from the success she was terrified of.
But it's not always about these deep, dramatic childhood beliefs. Sometimes it's about something a little more straightforward, a completely skewed perception of time itself. Psychologists call this the over-optimism trap.
What they've found is that people who are always late often have this excessive positivity about how much they can get done. It's also called the planning fallacy. They genuinely believe they can shower and get dressed in 10 minutes, drive across town in 15 during rush hour, and maybe stop for coffee on the way.
And as you can see here, this creates a huge disconnect between how long they think something will take and how long it actually takes. It's not that they're trying to deceive you, it's that their internal clock is just a wild optimist, constantly underestimating reality.
So that brings us back to that nagging question. Is it just selfishness? I mean, if they know they're too optimistic, why not just leave earlier? Well, it turns out there's often another big psychological hurdle at play, this simple struggle to switch gears. For a lot of chronically late people, the hardest part is just stopping what they're doing right now. Whether it's finishing an email or watching one more video, the act of transitioning from one task to another can take a massive amount of willpower. It's really hard to stop doing something you enjoy to start something less pleasant, like, say, a stressful commute.
And this is where things get really tricky. The intent might not be selfish. It could be a real struggle with what's called executive function, basically the brain's management system. But the impact feels the same. For the person who's been left waiting for 20 minutes, it's almost impossible not to see it as a sign of disrespect.
Okay, so after hearing all of this, you might be thinking that being chronically late is this unsolvable problem locked deep in the subconscious. But the good news is, it's not. Real, lasting change is absolutely possible. But, and this is a big but, it doesn't come from just trying harder to be on time.
The very first step is to get rid of the myth that this is just a permanent personality trait. It's not. It's a behavior pattern, and every pattern has a cause. So the solution isn't about setting 20 alarms or just running out the door in a panic. It's about insight. It's about understanding.
The path to punctuality really boils down to 2 steps. They're simple, but they're not necessarily easy. Step 1, you have to do the work to figure out why. What's the root cause? Is it a subconscious belief from your past? Is it that over-optimism trap? Once you actually know the real reason, then you're ready for step 2.
And this right here is probably the most important takeaway of all. Just trying to be on time is doomed to fail because you're fighting against a hidden enemy you don't understand. But once you shine a light on that enemy, once you understand it, you can make a conscious decision to act differently. It stops being a frantic attempt and becomes a deliberate, informed choice. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. For you, or for that person in your life who's always late, what hidden reason could be driving that behavior? And if that reason were finally brought out into the open, do you think that knowledge would be powerful enough to finally change the decision?